Cool.
All right, we are back.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Round two.
Round two. We get really excited when we do these. May I have
It's so
some?
fun. Yes, please. Have some.
Yeah, we get so high off
Love
doing
your
these.
little toes. Oh, toes are so cute. Okay, here we go.
All right, so we are going to talk about B12.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
It's okay.
They only give you an hour on
Yeah,
this
they only
thing,
give
I
you
guess,
an hour on Insta Live, so yeah. But so I wanted to talk about B12 and vitamin D because people seem to think that a vegan diet is deficient in B12 and D.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that all diets are deficient in B12
Every
and
single
D,
diet.
but it's not the diet that we should be getting these vitamins from.
Right.
These are environmental vitamins. So it's not necessarily the diet that's deficient. It's our environment that's deficient because we're not digging around in the earth
Right.
every day
we're not in
eating
the soil.
dirt. We're not in the soils. We're not out in the sunshine every
Yeah.
day, especially living out here.
Antibacterial everything, washing everything,
Mm-hmm.
scrubbing our vegetables and stuff because we don't know what's on it. So
Yeah,
there we
everything's sterilized, sanitized, everything. We're living in these big buildings, no access to wild earth or streams of water.
And one positive
Yeah.
where we are at this point in time in our evolutionary, process here of life is we have been able to refine certain things that we do need that are essential, which a B12 vitamin, you can be dialed for like $6 a year.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it.
I know, it's totally worth it to get those
Like, it's not
B12
going to hurt.
supplements.
We don't need to geek out necessarily unless you have a deficiency
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, I gotta get more B12. Like, you don't necessarily need to roll like that. I
Yeah.
personally take one B12 a week.
Yeah, we only need 2,500 micrograms of it a week. So if you can take like 1, 2, or even 3 of the 1,000 micrograms, every second day, like it's really
And
you don't need a lot.
if you're able to get like lab tests done, that's a great thing to do
Mm-hmm.
because then you can. I mean, this is a machine, right? So if we can get this machine tested to make sure that we aren't deficient in something or that we're we have too much of one thing, that's key as well.
Yeah, and we're just not out there. Our modern life doesn't. Like someone mentioned here, the medical medium says like if you pick fruits and vegetables wild, yes, that's going to have the bacteria on
Yeah.
it that produces the B12.
Yeah.
But they did a study where they had clinically deficient vegans who were clinically deficient in B12, and they studied all of them were making B12. They had the bacteria making it. They were just making it so low in the colon that they weren't able to absorb it. So what they did was they made like a fecal supplement basically of their own stool and they took it internally and there it was able to be absorbed in the smaller intestine and the
Amazing.
bacteria was able to regrow and all of them got out of their deficiency.
That's an amazing. It would be
Yeah.
cool if we could put that link in so you guys could see it. because
I
these-
don't know the
these studies are
study,
amazing.
but
You had
it
one
was
up
on
here?
Dr. Greger's website, but also not like it was something crazy. When I was reading this statistic, something like 90% of all the B12 that is created for supplement is fed to cattle and
Isn't
livestock.
that wild?
So if you are eating meat, you're indirectly getting it from a supplement
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
So yes, the rosacea question, that's what I wanted to answer. My wife has rosacea. Can a vegan lifestyle help her? Now, a vegan lifestyle, and especially a high raw or all raw vegan lifestyle, is definitely going to help people. Now, I can't say guaranteed that it's going to get rid of it
Rosacea is a
because
tricky one.
rosacea is a tricky one. And if you don't go vegan or raw vegan, what's the alternative? You're going to stay eating whatever you're eating that are causing the
Medications.
problems. You're going to, so
Creams.
there's not any disadvantage to going
Yeah.
vegan or high raw.
Yeah.
None at all. You're just going to be giving your body way more nutrition and it's going to be so much better than the alternative. So even if it doesn't heal her rosacea, at least she's doing her body some self-love.
And another thing too is maybe we're designed to move. So a rebounder or a lymphocyzer is a really good thing too. Maybe if I'm not sure if she's moving a lot, but that might help as well. High raw, super hydrating, no oil. If you can, no oil, no sugars, none of that funky stuff, none of the processed stuff, and bounce on the rebounder. Not sure the age or, her flexibility or whatever, but getting her body moving.
Yeah.
Possibly her lymphatic system is just kind of stagnant, and then that's showing up. It's all the same disease. Doesn't matter what you have in the system, outside of the system, on your skin, internally. It's basically stemming from one disease, which is
Improper self-care.
improper self-care.
And genetics show that more so.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah.
And stagnant septic system, which is the lymphatic system. We don't really hear much about it in this community. We definitely hear more about it, but it's really wild how, like, even dry brushing, getting one of those brushes and just have her dry brush. And there's charts on how to dry brush. You want to always be brushing towards the heart, stimulating.
Dry brush your face too.
Yeah, stimulating the skin. Man, those kind of things, I think that definitely could, benefit. But rosacea is a tricky one.
Do you use a distiller? I don't right now. When we move in together, we will be getting a distiller.
We use a distiller after my mom's kidney cancer and the different things that she learned about, kidney issues. Distillers are a great thing because basically the kidneys are our own distillers. So if you are drinking distilled water, that's less work on your kidneys. And man, not to mention, after you drink distilled water, it's so delicious.
Oh, it's
Everything
so nice.
tastes nasty after distilled water. Now, even spring water, there's mixed emotions about spring water and distilled water, but our body necessarily can't process certain minerals and they can accumulate. So it's kind of cool, the concept of having a complete sterile water.
Yeah, and we get our minerals from our fruits and vegetables anyway.
We're not living, back in the day where we had like clean water and just, stuff's different nowadays. We have to. So what's the importance of vitamin K2? Trey says,
okay, so K2 is a vitamin that is produced from K1, which is found mostly in leafy greens. So what happens is there's another bacteria in our gut. This is like so important, guys.
The gut.
Number one is your gut. If your gut bacteria is balanced, then a lot of stuff, like even the rosacea, got to get that gut balanced is so important by high raw, lots of fiber and probiotics are help. But anyways, so you get this bacteria, it's a specific bacteria, I'm not sure the name of it, but it converts K1 into K2, and K2 is necessary for healthy teeth, bone, nail, hair formation, mainly bones and teeth. So a lot of people who are fruitarian, who experience dental issues, have low amounts of vitamin K2 because they can't actually form proper teeth. Right? So we want to have K2 with D3 to help with the healthy teeth and bones. So that's basically what the K2 is. And we don't know, one round of antibiotics can wipe out that colony. So we don't know if we're making it or not. And I don't think there's any tests from what I'm aware of that you can get tested. But do you eat any beans? Yes, we do. We are pro-bean, but we eat sprouts. Now, I've read a lot in Dr. Michael Greger's book, How Not to Die. He is so pro-beans that he requires 3 servings a day for his daily dozen. But we do sprouts in place of just canned cooked beans.
Sprouts are powerful.
They fill you up.
Loaded with all kinds of healthy stuff.
Yeah, the B vitamins go through the roof once they're sprouted. The vitamin C goes through the roof once they're sprouted. The phytic acid is released once it's sprouted. There's just so many benefits to sprouting them. The protein content is amazing. It's through the roof. There's more protein in alfalfa, a handful of alfalfa sprouts, than there is in a 8-ounce steak. Alfalfa sprouts. Go for it. This is so fun. It is so fun. Love doing this, you guys.
We do.
B12, cyano, or methyl. I prefer methyl. Do you use MyFitnessPal? No, I personally use Chronometer. That's my favorite.
We got here
Chronometer.
Yeah, Chronometer. Extra irritable since I started a raw a few weeks ago. Is this detox thing? Well, the cravings lessen over time. So we just kind of touched up on this just a moment ago, which I feel like it's going to take some time to rewire the circuitry up here and rewire what's going on down in the gut for sure. The cravings should subside. Just stick with it. If you're rocking it, give yourself 90 days. 90 days it's going to take 90 days to learn how to prepare these certain dishes and to shop. And it's also going to take at least 3 months to start to grow those good guys down there that are going to help decompose or digest the fibrous foods. If you're not eating a high raw diet and those cravings, basically we were talking about the parasites, you're cutting off their food supply. These guys are PO'd down there. They're yelling and screaming and they're like ripping off their hats and throwing down the papers. They're frustrated because you cut off their food supply. So stick with it. They will eventually bounce. They'll roll. Like you'll pass them. And if you do toy with your stool, not many people do, like with a strainer, you'll be surprised at what you find.
Some people just pass them. But another thing I wanted to ask is to make sure that you're eating enough, because it doesn't matter what diet you're on. If you're not eating enough, you're going to be irritable.
Majorly.
track your calories. And I know a lot of people don't like tracking their calories, but when you start raw, you have to track, because we don't know. Like these little salads, we're like, oh, I'm going to fill up on this little salad.
It's not how
you
it
need
used
like
to be.
4 times the amount.
And then you're eventually going to, create, it's going to be easier to eat these big mixing bowls full of salad. But definitely, if you're not eating enough, that's another thing that's going to make you irritable. Low blood sugar.
Hangry.
You're going to get hangry. So it's kind of a multitude of things, but stick with it. Yeah. Give yourself 3 to 6 months to kind of like, basically redesign your insides.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
I heard that North American grocery stores have low quality fruits and veggies. Where do you get your produce? I get my produce wherever I get my produce. I am basically kind of forced to, like, because I can't just like get up and move to Costa Rica. I'd love to, but we don't live there. So growing your own greens is extremely important if you're able to. But most of us, I live in a high-rise apartment. I do have a tower garden. It's not on right now. But there are things that you can do to get better produce. But honestly, I would rather see people eat as much as they can and get as much raw foods in them as they can wherever they are. Nothing is going to be perfect. We cannot be perfect.
And I like to think of, Chris Kendall. He's a super rock star, and he's been like a raw foodie up here in Canada in the cold tundra for like over 14 years. And he's, for me, because he's kind of like the same age, he's super healthy, and he's someone that I kind of look to. And man, it can be done. Definitely. It's a mindset thing. We can really, like, I call it mental masturbation. We can really mess with ourselves up here. Like, I can't get everything organic. Okay, I'm not going to do this. Let's just get the pizza tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, we can scare ourselves out of it because we want to be perfect, but in the reality, there is no perfect diet. Like, I mean, there's no perfection. We're always seem to be striving for this perfection. And if you feel like you fall short, that stress alone is bad for you too. So just, chill and do what you can, do the best you can, because that's the most important.
Yeah. And then someone says here, be careful when dry brushing on the face with rosacea. So yes, be careful, you guys, there.
Yeah, you can still, like, with a softer
it's more just
brush
to get
or whatever, just to get the circulation going.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, it just depends on how severe it is and all of that. Like, I found, like, as I was, like, I dry brush and it helped with my acne in the beginning when I first went raw. So it really depends. You don't want to irritate, obviously. But yeah.
What's up, Linda? Love you.
What do you think of miso paste or soy? We eat miso paste.
I had miso paste tonight in the dressing that I made. I just was kind of craving that salty, like I wanted a little salt, so I threw like a tablespoon of miso paste in the dressing that we had tonight, and it was like delicious. So
good. But we also don't do soy, so other than the miso paste. So it's just the fermented soy. But otherwise we just eat that. But
so what kind of distiller do we recommend? I think that I don't really know the brands. My mom is the one who has a couple of them, and she ended up hooking us up with one, and I'm not sure the brand of it, but I think most distillers, you get what you pay for. I've always said that, like, hearing that from my dad and grandfather, like, you get what you pay for. So if you're gonna buy like the cheapest one, like, it might get you by, but it's an investment.
Especially, that's so true. Do you have any suggestions for what to take to the movies to eat? I feel like emotionally connect the whole experience with getting popcorn, soft drink.
That's a huge one.
That's a big one. It's going, like, you created this belief system by doing that every time. So now you want to break that and just keep it as a fond memory and be like, I remember when I had popcorn. It's so good, but now I don't do that anymore. It's just like traditions. Like, we create the tradition of hanging a stocking on Christmas or putting up trees.
Or even putting up a tree.
We just create these traditions every single year because we do the same thing. So we need
to create a new tradition.
So you could take kale chips, you could take
if
dried
you're allowed
fruit.
to even bring stuff in the movies.
For the most part, I don't do anything when I'm at the movies. I just kind of chill, but
I had popcorn with my kid when I went, and I was raw, and I was like, I'm gonna eat some popcorn. Let's just see what's up, and oh my God, my mouth felt like it was raped. I felt horrible, so yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. But I have brought in some pumpkin seeds, and some
sprouted pumpkin seeds.
They're sprouted pumpkin seeds. They're the Go Raw brand. They're so delicious, as well as like date roll. A date coconut roll. Sometimes I'll smash a couple of those in my pocket.
Dried mangoes you can take too.
I think we've brought dried mangoes before. So you have to create a new tradition. You got to, like, go, all right, how can I work this? And not to mention, like, man, those guys are really ripping us off. Like, popcorn is so cheap. And it's like $12 for a little bucket of popcorn.
Totally. I eat Sun Warrior protein, which is great. Other raw, high protein, low fat sources, sprouts and greens.
Sprouts
and greens galore.
Sprouts blow everything out of the water.
Yeah.
From the research that I've done and the books that I've read. So now this one here is a really good one. The emotions are also a lot more raw when you aren't numbing yourself. That is such a key statement. And we definitely, that, piggybacks on top of what, the girl was having some issues with, being irritable. My goodness. I actually, my emotions were so raw when I went raw that I was like, I can't be with this woman anymore. I was with my partner for 25 years. And I was like, I can't be with this individual anymore. Like, she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. Like, I love her dearly forever, but I just couldn't necessarily share the rest of my life with this individual because I'm finding so many things that weren't necessary. And these were just raw emotions. I'm like, and I'm like, really, I'm breaking down at night. Like, why am I feeling this? Like, from the curb appeal, like, we had like the American dream. We had all the stuff, right? We were super happy from the outside, but the emotional connection, the mental connection, which growing up, like, I wanted more of that. I was not having that. And I couldn't numb it, which I had been doing the entire time through the food. And that is so huge. Definitely.
Yeah, and I feel when you are eating raw, you feel the good, like, exponentially, but you also feel the bad.
Right.
But it's part of life.
It is.
It's feeling, and even when we go through stressful times, like we went through some interesting stuff recently, not as a couple, just some interesting other stuff, but it's interesting to go through it, moving through it, realizing that we are feeling all of these things in their raw emotion state because we're not numbing ourselves, and we can't numb ourselves. So we have to feel them, and we are blessed to be able to feel them.
Right.
Because
Definitely.
I didn't like being numb.
No.
It just sucked.
So right here, do you eat all organic?
Ooh, good one.
I don't eat all organic. Lissa doesn't eat all organic. It is very expensive, and we try to really, adhere to the clean 15 and the dirty dozen.
Yeah.
And we do our veggie scrub and we rinse our stuff, but that's not going to stop us. That's not going to stop us from living this lifestyle if we can't eat all organic, because I still feel like within me personally that some herbicides and some pesticides, I know that I'm getting it, and we can be hypochondriacs over these kind of issues, and it can stop us dead in our tracks. And I would rather eat a conventional salad than having a McDonald's breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, and I would also rather have a conventional salad than, say, organic lasagna that's like cooked, like, because you're damaging all the nutrients. Like, there's so many things that come into play.
Yeah, there's so many aspects, and everybody's on their own journey. And like Lissa and I aren't like people who aren't living just like us really suck. We just want people to feel the best that they can, and of course we want to see more people eating more plants, because the more plants that we grow on the planet, the cleaner our planet is. The soil's cleaner, the air is cleaner.
No animals get hurt.
And every single vegan meal, whether it's cooked or raw, is an animal saved, or possibly 4 to 5 animals saved, depending on what kind of meal you're eating. Yeah. So yeah, definitely the organic thing can stop people, but like, because how we kind of are naturally is all or nothing. Oh, well, I can't get all organic. I'm not going to even do this, and that shouldn't stop us.
No, it shouldn't stop us. Do the best you can.
Yeah.
Get organic when you can afford it. Of course, it's going to be the better choice, but yeah.
Trying to
You're
scroll through.
Sleepy.
Oh, Miranda. Hey, what's up, Miranda?
Cuddle time.
Yep, totally. It won't be long.
Do you make your own sprouts? We do make our own sprouts, but for the most part, we like to buy them pre-made because it's just easier that way. But
I have the Fresh Life 3000. Boom! But I really slack on keeping that thing bumping all the time. But it is a super awesome sprouter. You just change the water in the hopper, distilled water, and it waters your sprouts all day long while you're at work doing your thing. And then 6 days to 10 days later, you have fresh sprouts. But of course, how sprouts are, you got to eat them pretty good and pretty fast. But if you grow your own sprouts in a jar, stuff like that. It's fun. And that's another thing that's fun to engage the kids in. If you've got kids, have them put the beans in the jar, or the sprouted seeds in the jar, and have them rinse them every day, and then they can get excited and watch them grow, because it is pretty exciting.
It is pretty cool. Even as adults, I'm like, look at all these little sprouts.
And they're
so
alive.
Cool.
Like, that is true living foods for sure.
Blueberry basil drizzle. I just bought your dips and dressings book on Kindle. Awesome. Yes, here is my plant-based dips and dressings. The blueberry basil drizzles in there is one of my favorites.
Okay, can we talk about bowel movements being all raw, please? How many should we have a day? Okay, this is a really good one, you guys, because if you're only having one bowel movement, like a day or every 3 days, you're chronically constipated. The way that I like to describe myself is I'm like a hydraulic piece of machinery. Every time I eat, it is going down the tube and pushing out the last meal. So realistically, depending on my comfortability where I am, like if I'm traveling and I'm in a place where I don't have home bowl, I don't know if you guys have watched Family Guy, but if I have home bowl, I could have, easily 4 to 5 bowel movements a day, and they're quick. I'm not in there like a long time with the vein popping through my head, really pushing hard. But if I don't have home bowl, sometimes I might only have 1 to 2 bowel movements a day.
Yeah, but I think healthy is 2, 3 is a good average, and everyone's going to be different.
Everybody's going to be a little different, but you definitely want to be eliminating at least once a day. At least once. And I would say 3 times a day is ideal. Is pretty ideal. Yeah, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of thing.
Totally. What are your thoughts on nutrient absorption? I know some veggies like greens are better cooked for absorption. What are your thoughts? Interesting question. I believe if we were supposed to get more from our foods, nature would have made them like that. So I think cooking them, sure, we get a little bit more absorption of certain things, but other things are depleted, like vitamin C completely gone, and some of those things like that. Now, I'm not saying you can't cook your food. Go for it if you want to, but I personally prefer to get my nutrition raw. And the whole tomato thing, there is, the whole saying, if you cook your tomato, you get more lycopene. It's not that you get more, there's only a certain amount of lycopene in the tomato. What happens is, say on eating a raw tomato, you're absorbing, we'll say 50% of the lycopene in the raw tomato. But if you're cooking it, people might say, oh, you're absorbing 80% of the lycopene. But the problem is that depending on the cooking method, you're decreasing the lycopene by, up to 80% I've seen. Yeah. Depending on the cooking method. So if you're absorbing 80% of the 20% that's left, it's better to eat the raw tomato.
I think the math is kind of weird.
The math is really weird. And so when you cook, yes, it's more bioavailable, but how much of that nutrient is available for you to absorb?
That's huge.
It's not as much. So really, when it boils down to it, I don't think it's a big deal. As long as you're eating a good variety and lots of greens and
the greens,
other stuff.
Oh my gosh, the greens, the leafy greens are king next to the sprouts.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying you can't add a little bit of cupped steamed greens if you feel like you want to get more absorption from that. Go for it. Just make sure that you're eating a high raw salad with it.
Mm-hmm. I love the Dips and Dressings book and Winter Romance book. Yes, I love that. I agree. They're such good books.
What's a home bowl? If you go on Family Guy, there is a clip.
YouTube Family Guy home bowl.
Just go YouTube Family Guy home bowl, and
it's funny.
It's basically your bathroom, that you feel comfortable in.
Yeah, when we went to anywhere we go. We have we've got home bowl, we went to a festival and it's we have our favorite bathroom, out of all the bathrooms, that one's our favorite one.
It's the one where you feel most comfortable.
It's
you
just
have a good bowel movement.
And I feel that kind of helps bowel movements too. Not only massaging the colon and stretching, yoga definitely can help. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the home bowl.
Yeah, if you're trying to poo in a dirty outhouse, that can mess with you.
Sometimes you're just I don't really have to go that bad.
So what do you eat when flying, traveling?
This is a good one. Mm-hmm. Now you guys are allowed to bring
a whole banana box.
A whole case of bananas. That size of a box with you. So you could have that loaded with any kinds of fruits and vegetables you want, and they cannot tell you can't bring that on there.
Yeah.
So I bring
there
not only...
may be some things that they might not, like green onions, they'll probably take.
Very
oranges,
true. Very
maybe
true.
things without a sticker.
Okay, so yeah, we're saying, yeah, exactly.
But as for weight or like the amount, you can definitely take a whole box.
Totally. There's certain things they probably, but you know, celery, dates, apples, oranges, depending if they have a sticker, peel the sticker off just to make yourself safe, because sometimes they want the sticker on.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I wasn't able to bring apples back with me from Canada to America because they didn't have the sticker on them, which was kind of funny.
Weird,
but you're allowed to bring food with you. They can't deny you your food, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because
so
say
bring
if you
your
have,
own salad.
Yeah, if you have a long flight, I brought a salad with me. I bring avocado, I bring lemon, I bring some dehydrated fruit like mangoes and pineapples and dates, and I also bring some awakened pumpkin seeds.
Awakened. I love that. Sprouted. Yeah, totally awesome. Another thing you can do too, depending on how long your flight is, if it's just a quick short one, fast.
Yeah, just fast.
Just drink a lot of water and take a little bit of a break.
But if you're not used to fasting, fasting can definitely make you irritable because your blood sugar, regulation and all that stuff is kind of, out of whack. So if you're not used to fasting on a long plane ride probably isn't your best bet.
Yeah, you want to keep it to the shorter ones, like the 2-hour plane rides.
Yeah,
or
totally.
whatever.
Just fast. Don't even have nothing. Now, someone says here, what's your opinion using superfood powders, spirulina, wheatgrass powders, etc.?
Well, we like the Daily Greens Boost. It's one of those good ones.
Spirulina is pretty cool in your nice cream or smoothies.
Yep.
I don't really geek out on a lot of the powders as much though, and I know that there's some really good ones because I know that where we have gone in our journey of evolutionary process, we have learned how to refine some of these things and make some really amazing, healthy powders.
Yeah, and I do like the blue-green algaes for the omega-3.
That's key.
Yeah, that's really, really good too. I don't take them every day, but I do take them once in a while. I like E3 Live. I like their Blue Magic because it turns things blue.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
But yeah, I do take that for omega-3s, but we don't push them hard if you want to take...
Yeah.
So I've got 20% battery left.
Uh-oh.
So if I die, if my phone dies, you guys know. What do you say to friends, family who invite you for dinner but just started on this raw lifestyle and don't feel like telling them yet?
That's a tricky one.
That's a really tricky one.
Because that one, for me personally, made me like, you're kind of embarrassed almost, kind of maybe ashamed. Like, you don't want people to know, like, you want to go eat in the corner.
Yeah.
You don't want people to see what you're doing. But I would say be proud of what you're doing.
Be proud of it. Be honest and step out and say it. Now, I have a quick story. When I was raw in the past, like with my ex, we would go to his parents' house every Sunday night for dinner. And I would always eat before I went, like when I went raw this last time. So I would eat before, go over there, and then I would just sit. I would have like a little salad, whatever they made. But there was one Sunday that I didn't have time to eat before I went. So I made my salad and I took it over there with me. And it was like this massive, gigantic
mixing
thing.
Mixing
bowl full. And they were like, is that for everybody? And I'm like, no, it's just for me. So I forced myself to eat the whole thing because I made extra in case they wanted to try, but they didn't. So I ate the entire thing. From that moment on, they never said anything else.
Yeah.
And it's really standing your ground. Saying no is not negative on them. You're not hurting, like you're not trying to hurt them. You're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah. And we all just want to chew together.
Yeah.
That's how we it's a traditional thing. It goes back, hundreds of thousands of years. We enjoy food together. We're all getting that same, dopamine release, whatever we're eating. And we want to chew together. We want to look over and see our friends chewing. We want to see our families chewing. And how is that? Oh man, this is so good. It's something that is like it's really important to chew together.
Yeah.
But, it shouldn't matter like what we're chewing on necessarily. Of course it does matter. I shouldn't say that. It really does matter what we're chewing on. But it shouldn't necessarily be a reason for you to be, not showing the people that, this is how the professional people who love themselves do it.
Yes. And when you are going over there all the time and you're saying things like somebody mentioned, I just say I'm on a cleanse. The only issue that I have with that is that if you are going over there often, like if it's just once in a blue moon, sure, whatever. But if you're going over there like once a month and you're always on a cleanse, you have to put yourself in their shoes. If they see you losing weight,
Never
you're always on a
eating.
cleanse, you're never eating, they're going to immediately assume that you're on.
And they're going to
having
think that
eating
your
disorder.
diet is definitely not a good thing for you.
Because they don't see what you do in your everyday life. So the best thing is to eat in front of them.
Yeah.
Show them you're eating a big giant salad. Show them your...
Bring your blender.
Yeah.
Like, I roll with my cooler and my duffel bag with my blender, and I don't even give a anymore because I'm like, I'm going to bust out the dressing. And I like to make nice cream, especially for the kiddos and stuff, because I don't know, it's just fun to, like, we want to serve people food. Certain people want to serve people food, and I you know, at this point in time, I'm much more proud of what I'm all about and how I'm living.
Time.
It does take time, though.
Even at my family's get-togethers, like, we have like 200 family members, and they all eat like
all the stuff.
The
standard stuff.
Every single time I'm there with my big salad, they always make comments like, "You're gonna eat all of that?"
And
yep,
it's funny
you know
how
I
people,
am.
like you were saying, people didn't even try your salad. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, we're so scared almost of trying something that is not, you know, our normal everyday thing.
I know, it's just a salad, guys. No. How often do you add Himalayan salt to your food? I only use like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and it's maybe once or twice a week, if that. I don't really use a lot of it.
Of salt?
Yeah, salt.
Yeah, I don't really use a lot of salt either. But I was craving a little salt today. I don't know what it was. I was just craving that miso.
Yeah.
I wanted a dressing with miso in it, you know?
Let's see.
Yep, and saying you're on a cleanse around strangers or other people, that is a good thing, just to cut it. You know, like, say it's not really, like, you're not going over there. You're going to get together, but they are going to eat. You're like, that's cool. You can
or just be like, I ate before. Like, there's so many things you can say.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it is important for our loved ones to know that we are nourishing ourselves, and to see them, for them to see how we're nourishing ourselves, I think is really important, because a lot of times I feel like, and I get comments from friends as well as coworkers, and that they're like, oh, Nate, I should probably be eating that. That looks good, you know?
They're watching you. They see it. They know. They know they should be doing it,
like,
too.
I've got, like, 2 plates of salad. When I worked at the hospital, I'm like, all right, I'll buy the salad, and it was ridiculous. It was like $18 for these 2 plates of salad, because they go off of weight, you know? And I had a lot of cucumbers and tomatoes on there. But here comes, you know, another coworker who, like, you know, is going to be in the hospital bed here probably this next year. I wouldn't doubt it. And he's looking at my plate, and on his plate, he has probably like 5 to 6 different animal products on his plate. And he's like, I should be eating that. He's like, but I'm not gonna, you know, and not to make fun of him by saying that, but that was like his mentality. It's like, you know, inside that little Jiminy Cricket voice was like, I should be eating that. But he's, the parasites, I like to picture the parasites are the ones doing the freaking driving.
Yep, and it's that right here flavor.
It's the flavor. I know, it's so good right here. You're like, oh, the taste, and it's like right here, and it's just delicious, and grease is dripping, and then as soon as it passes here, you're like, what did I do?
I love it. It's so true. Oh, I heard you mention Duolingo. Are you planning a move? No, we just want to improve ourselves, and we want to learn Spanish. So we are learning Spanish.
I wish we were in the Matrix
Right.
with the ability to just like tap the phone back here, or tap it to your wrist or something, and be like, I can speak perfect Greek. But it's not the way it is. This is a really good one too. Dulse flakes instead of salt on salad. Dulse and wakame seaweed, man, they are like so incredibly salty. Those are great things to have for a salt craving.
Yeah, dulse for sure.
So good.
Celery juice is good too. Celery is very high in natural sodium. So
you throw like, I mean, a pinch of wakame seaweed in your
Yeah.
dressing, and you're like, whoa, this is salty.
Have you healed any chronic illnesses? I healed chronic acne. I had acne since I was like 17. So it lasted like almost 20 years of my life. It was all
acne.
over. Yeah, so that was healed. I also had chronic joint pain that went away on Raw. I lost 70 pounds.
Yes.
I came out of depression states. I love my life. I'm like on a high with life. Yeah, just like I haven't had anything like labeled, but that's another thing. Like we don't have like, you don't have to get diagnosed. If you feel off and you feel out of balance, that's just your body saying, hey, I need you to look after me and take care of me. You're putting stuff in my body that's not helping. So we want to make sure that we treat ourselves with the utmost respect. And I think personally, I had all the classic symptoms for diabetes. Yeah, I never got tested, but if I did,
you were on your way.
100%, I probably would have had diabetes for sure.
I know, and I used to have this joke, like, if we swallow our own saliva, like basically just swallowing, for 50 years, we're probably going to get cancer because of like everybody is getting something. And then it made me think like, can't have that bad of a design of a body? Like literally, did we get dealt this kind of a card? No, I don't believe that we did. It's all the stuff that is in our face and what they pump us, what we want. I mean, look at the Happy Meals. Like we were talking about this earlier, for like say a single mom, 3-4 kids, is she going to want to go home and like make some delicious salad or a beautiful dressing for her kids? Probably going to just stop through Burger King and everybody even gets a toy. It's set up in just such a really ridiculous way, This is a great one here. I just say I'm building my health and have been sick for years. So then people stop asking. Okay, she knows what she's doing. Remember, the people around us is a mirror
of our
inner world.
Yeah.
Man, that is so epic. I love that.
Yeah, on this topic, this one says, I feel so rude when I'm invited somewhere and they used hours to prepare a meal for everyone with love and care, and I'm the only one saying, no thanks, totally. I don't eat that. And
my son,
I
don't mean to interrupt you. My son, we went over to a friend's house and she made this delicious vegan it was like a stew of some sort, and she used 1 tablespoon of yogurt, and my kid was like, I'm not eating it. He's like, I'm sorry, and I felt this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I wasn't raw at the time, so I ate it because I was like, I don't want to be rude. But then my kid was like, Dad, it doesn't matter. He's like, it's got yogurt in it. He's like, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, dang, you're so freaking powerful. All right. I'm not going to eat it either,
Yeah, and it's interesting because they just want to feel hospitable.
Yes.
Right? And it does feel rude, but that's because that's just how we've been brought up to feel when we say no. So yeah, I would just say like, I'm sorry, thank you so much. Like, kill them with kindness, give them such big hugs and say, I love that you thought of me, but I'm just going to skip out this time. Thank you for thinking of me, blah, blah, blah. And eventually if you want, you can talk to them aside and be like, if you want me to have some of the stuff you make me vegan like or raw vegan or whatever.
This is the way I like it, and I'll totally love it. And you can do like a date where you get together and you can teach them how you like a certain dressing or a certain item. Because totally, people just want to, and if they took all that time to make something for you, obviously they love you and they want you
and they're not going to take offense.
Right.
Some people do naturally.
I think this is another great one here. Real quick, a couple of people asked about my ice cream book. So an ice cream book, I'm hoping right around the end of spring, beginning of summer.
Yeah,
hopefully. That's what my goal is. We have a lot going on, but I'm definitely striving for that, you guys. So when we start becoming confident in what we are doing, people stop questioning in a negative way.
Confidence is so key.
And I think this is a great shirt saying, education before medication.
Oh,
man,
totally, so true.
Who is this? This is Ingla Hops. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm horrible with reading the names.
Yeah, sometimes they're hard to read.
That is such a good one.
Yeah, something I wanted to also mention on that topic is that say you're sober from alcohol and you do not drink alcohol, and somebody made a batch of beer and you go over, what are you going to have some beer just because they made it? You're going to say no because you are choosing this for yourself, and they should technically respect your sobriety and be like, I care so much about you that I don't want you to have my beer because you choose to be sober. It's just really hard to talk about food because food is like, everyone just thinks
it's like right up there with religion and politics, like even more so.
I know, it's crazy.
But it's interesting. It is. It's such an interesting.
So I think I only have like 10% battery left, so I'm just going to quickly go through these last two. How long did you detox when you went raw? I did not do a hardcore detox when I went raw, and I think that's because I eat like way more salads than the typical raw foodie does. So I didn't go through a hardcore detox. I even cut out caffeine and coffee, and I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to go through detox differently, but I don't want you to use detox as an excuse for symptoms that could be deficiencies or a lack of calories or too much fat, because people will get maybe say tired or whatever and they say, oh, it's just detox. But it's maybe they're not eating enough, maybe they're eating too high fat and all of these other things. So it's not always detox. Just make sure that you take that into consideration.
Huge. And
thoughts on Dr. Sebi's natural food and vegetables versus man-made, which is a good question. Obviously we want to eat as naturally as possible, but if you can't afford it or find it, I mean, like there's not much we can do. Like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna starve because there's not enough of, say, seeded watermelons on the planet? Right? If that was the only thing that you could eat was a seedless watermelon and there was nothing else, I would eat the seedless watermelon.
Definitely.
But we want to take action to try to do better.
Yeah.
But if it's not available, I wouldn't put too much stress on it, because that stress is worse for the
stress
body.
is bad too.
Yeah.
Now, any alternatives to crunchies? They miss the crunchies.
The crunchies,
Yep.
kale chips again. Yeah.
Oh, man, the kale chips.
Something that we did, we put our salad.
Yeah.
For like the crunchy,
Yeah.
like crouton-y kind of thing.
Dried onion flakes.
Dried onion
I want
flakes.
some of those again right now.
Right? So awesome. It was so good. But
So hubby wants to be raw vegan but hates chewing fruits and
Oh.
veggies, salads. And chewing, I know that's such a huge thing, but that's what this is. This is a masticating machine, and we are also, like excreting certain saliva, powerhouse enzymes to break down these foods. So chewing is so huge. And
Yeah.
if he doesn't like chewing and he wants to be raw, he could just do smoothies.
Raw soups.
Raw soups and
chilies.
smoothies
Yeah.
more so. Say he's got weak teeth or something rather. He just doesn't like the chewing. Some people have really sensitive teeth, and even just biting into celery or like really crisp lettuce kind of has like a real weird kind of feeling, almost like biting onto a popsicle stick. Chai wants to be in on it too.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I want to be in the video."
So
And now he doesn't.
that's kind of tricky. That's kind of tricky for sure. But smoothies are epic because then he's getting all the fiber rather than say strictly juice, because then you're taking all that fiber out. I'd say like a balance between the two, and then the soups.
Yeah, and we like to do juice, but we also like it as a supplement to our diet. We don't do like
juice.
all juice.
I will
kinds.
drink a
Yeah.
juice every single day.
Yep, juice for sure. Can you do a meal video because I work and go to school, or do you have any suggestions? I do have a video on my channel, my top 4, I think, work lunches, which would be smoothies, just fruit, quick salads. Like, you can buy the pre-chopped cabbage, pre-chopped vegetables, like cherry tomato, like all those easy ingredients. Just throw them all in the thing and blend up a dressing really quick. Or veggies and dip. Like, you can blend a dressing and just take some chopped veggies to work too, or school. Those are my top suggestions for, on the go working.
I also have a video on YouTube as well, like
how to do it.
how I would do it at work as well. And it's basically the same thing. Just thinking ahead, planning ahead of what you're going to bring. If you've got your dressing already made up and you've got your salads fix and stuff made up, even if it's stuff already pre-cut and it's in bag, you can just throw that stuff in a bowl and you're good to go. Or the smoothies, ice cream. I always revert to ice cream.
I know,
because you're gonna get like you can have like 500-600 calories in a batch of ice cream, depending on what you put into it. And so now here for the dried onion flakes, the dehydrated onion flakes.
Just plain dehydrated
not
onion.
the granulated or the powder, but the actual like little onion flakes. Those are so good.
And you can make them yourself too. Just chop onion, throw it on the dehydrator, and let them dry.
They
you got your own.
They do work good, but they are really cheap, so a lot of times we buy them. He
So,
loves smoothies. Good.
Can I buy your book in any bookstore? No, you can't. You can only get it off Amazon, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. I think you can get it off .co.uk and a couple other places. But this is the Dips and Dressings book that you can get. And here is the new meal plan. But yeah, they are only sold off Amazon, and I don't have a book deal. What it is a it's self-publishing. So I basically self-published these books. I did all the photos, all the design, all the everything for these
beautiful.
books. And
they feel so nice.
all right, I know they're so pretty. But Amazon prints them on demand. So if you order one, they print it special for you and they ship it out. And that's why they're so expensive, because they're not printing like 50 of them unless there's lots of orders. Like right now, there's a lot of orders going through. So this one is about 29% off right now because so many people are buying it.
Screaming deal.
The price goes down just based on the
now.
algorithm.
If you guys don't have it, I would get it now. And honestly, like even before, like Lissa and I were talking, and I just wanted to support her because I believe in what she does and all the work that she puts in. I want to pay full price for all your books. I said, I don't even care. Like I want all your books and I want to pay full price because this is her craft. This is what she does. And I would buy them. Like this one here, I was like, I want to buy it. Like I want to pay full price because this is.
You get it for free.
I know. She said I could have it for free, but still I want to pay because it is an epic deal, and you have them forever. Like you have these recipes forever. Now somebody was saying in here favorite dips. I really like. The higher fat dips are super good.
Just small amounts.
Yeah, but the the spinach dip she has, the French onion dip, which French onion to me oh my God, it was one of my favorites. And of course, the old school style was just like sour cream with the Lipton onion soup mixed and, you know, Ruffles potato chips. So I had to rewire my thinking upstairs, and I don't ever have that anymore. But those are really good. Her red pepper cashew. Those three are probably my top favorite. The French onion, the spinach, and the red pepper cashew.
So good. Give them a try, guys. They're in this book. A couple more questions because I'm running out of battery. I ate heaps of greens, but my iron is below borderline. Why is that? Probably because you might be missing the intrinsic factor.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make sure that your B12 is up, and a couple other things. I can't off the top of my head, but search the intrinsic factor.
The intrinsic factor.
B vitamins are very important. Vitamin C is extremely important. And if you were still eating animal products, and I'm not assuming you were or not, but if you were, that heme iron can be toxic to the cells. We don't want to be eating the heme iron, but it's probably the absorption. You're missing certain vitamins that help to absorb the iron.
Now, was that also one where even if it was cooked on the same, was that one where, like, you know, like if you cook something on the same, you know, iron skillet or whatever that meat was cooked on?
Yeah, you can still get some. Oh, that was for bacteria, like E. coli and stuff like that. If you cook your vegan food on the same pan that animal products were cooked in, you can still get those bacteria, like E. coli, which is involved in like bladder infections. Yeah. So people who eat chicken mostly and meat tend to get more bladder infections because they have that E. coli running through their system. So yeah, that's something too. But make sure that you're getting those vitamins that are necessary at absorbing iron. So
what dehydrated temperature makes food still living?
115 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's the magic number, you guys. 115. So if you have a dehydrator, kick it at 110. You're totally in the golden zone.
Perfect. So yeah, I think we are going to wrap this up. We're done with all the questions from what I could see. If we missed it, I do apologize. We were trying to scroll through everything. Yeah. But thank you guys so much for joining in. We're going to post these on YouTube for you to see later on. And we're going to keep these up for 24 hours so people can watch. But yeah, follow Nate at Raw Natty Nate. He's got lots of good stuff coming down the pipe. He's got his nice cream book that's going to come out in the summertime. We are going to be at the UK Fruit Fest, the Canada Fruit Fest, and at Woodstock. So if you want to go to any of those, you can use my code RawFoodRomance to get a discount. Boom. Head over to any of those. And what else? I'm moving to Oregon in the next little bit.
Like another month or so.
Yeah, so hopefully we're just going to listen to what the lawyer says, and we're going to plan. It's going to be cool. Hope you guys can tag along for the journey. But thank you so much, everybody, for being part of our little your little
Thanks, you guys. We love all you guys. And until next time.
Until next time, guys.
You guys enjoy the rest of the night. Love you.
And fruit on.